Testing 1, 2. OBS, you gonna behave? You gonna be good? I can't blame OBS. That's optimum.
It's magic.
Already dropped some frames. Well, this may just end up being one of those nights. I'm going to push on because it seems like when it just drops 1 or 2, it's fine. But if it just straight cuts us off again, I'm not stitching together a 9-part I've restarted my router a dozen times video. So, like, new streamer who it is. Yes, of course. Also, charitable of you to think to go 20xx for the start date. Charitable of you. I appreciate it, Sor. But yeah, I guess we'll go. If it kicks me again, I'm just going to leave it there. But we're going to hope that it doesn't. We'll hope it got its kicking out of its system. It's flashing red. It might drop some frames, but in this type of game, it probably won't even be super noticeable. But if it drops me again, I'm leaving it there. I'll be very sad because I've been looking forward to this. If it boots me today, maybe we'll find another day for this. I hope that doesn't happen, though. I want to play this. So, as we were rudely interrupted by Optimum Online killing the internet, apparently she's decided to relate how a big metal ship floats to the same way that Japanese islands float, even though they're made of heavy earth, which is not the same at all. One is something that is piled up from the seafloor till it, breaks the surface, and one is a boat that is designed in a way so that it floats. It's more buoyant than it is heavy. So, it's fine. Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than the ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily in the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. That did not help at all. It's a huge book on top of the table there. There's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Oh, hold on. I should make sure the bot is good. Yeah, the bot looks okay. Alright. We should be good. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such a beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. Thought he might appreciate the compliment. Entire day too. Yeah, I literally was just watching a movie with my brother and nephew. We just watched the Disney classic Heavyweights, which I haven't seen since many years ago. Still funny. Still good. Still Ben Stiller playing a great villain. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment. Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. Well, okay. So yeah, internet was working fine, clearly. At least for streaming purposes. Or at least for watching video purposes. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? All right, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid. Oh. You seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. Not sailor. My mother gave me a name. I am a senior crewman beef stroganoff. Your mother must have been very hungry while naming you. Hey, I do enjoy me some beef stroganoff. It is delicious. Whew. The best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think.
So tasty.
Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Buya steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. Somehow let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you? If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently currently occupied? I have to assume that says da. Just have to assume. Sada-san, did you understand that? Sounded like da. Oh, hey! I can read Russian! I'm basically fluent now? Thank you. Thank you. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Ah, well. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. Grimsby Roylott. He is a very important Western gentleman. Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in a lowly student from insignificant Far East islands. Yeah, just like a high-class, dapper gentlewoman would have no interest in a professor from far-off Eastern islands. Wait, no, she didn't even murder a Japanese man. She murdered an Englishman. She just, did it there because she had no faith in the legal system and the police system to be able to actually catch and prosecute her. That was harsh. Can you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time. I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Which is weird if the cabin, if the wardrobe was against that wall. You'd think you'd hear some sort of movement or at least something. Well, presumably since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, it must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Da, all time. So criminals like you cannot come in, or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Hit! Susada-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. Saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no! Sorry? Not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. I mean, he's been staring over your head the entire time, so... This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second-class area is staying locked at all times. You escape with when the lobster whistle on top of the mountain. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Or as English say, when the pigs fly. Oh, is that the Russian version of that? Have to say, like the English version better. Yes, I understand. Can lobsters whistle? I mean, I guess can pigs fly, but I think it's more the placement than the whistle. I don't know. I don't want mountain lobsters. Good, now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. That's the way to the second-class area of the ship. Something wrong. I was thinking about making a run for it, for just a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. Might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, she's probably right. No, I started it with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Also, while you're at sea, what are you gonna do? You're not. Did I check that? I did. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. It's the ventilator. Yeah, we read this. Okay. Let's ask. Okay, well. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. Oh, annoying. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Oh, it's definitely gonna be, Frack, what's his name? It's definitely gonna be Herlock Sholmes. 100%. Stand aside. Oh, no, he's already here. Never mind, he's already here. I'm about to break down the door. Mr. Sholmes, shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What pray can I kick? I didn't know Sholmes became overcome with muscular urges to kick in doors. I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. This muscular urge to kick in a door. Last January, first class cabin number 2. Hello? Who are you? Western gentleman. This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. Woman, don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True. This old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott. Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No! I am a great detective among great detectives, one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. Ah, well, if you've been written about and you say you're completely trustworthy, I trust you implicitly. Man uses that magazine like a business card. Detective? I do not trust detectives. That's the face of trust. Yep. Oh, 100%. We'd have a ton. But I'm kind of glad they stuck to not voicing all of it. I feel like that works in Phoenix Wright's favor. I feel like, especially when you do comedy, unless you voice it perfectly, a lot of times it's better to leave it out. Like the Hildebrand questline. Yes, we could have a lot of great voice clips from Hildebrand if it was voiced, but I feel like it adds to it that it's not. To the point where they even put lyrics for the ending theme of every Hildebrand episode, even though it's not sung. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So, might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? Ah, yes, tiny woman. 8-man series, yeah, that would be nifty. The raids, I think they could definitely voice, and that would be fine. What? Don't be stupid! How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. I'll say, Ark, how's it going? Welcome to back to Land in the chat. Don't look at me. My, did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, he's just shook. Leave, now, otherwise I'll call the steward. So this is Cosmo's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. No. 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 I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Well. What are you... do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting for the inevitable time. You would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh. And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no. Actually, you're spot on, for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? No. No, I do not. Please enlighten me, Sholmes. What is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Please. Please hit me with that knowledge. Why? The truth, of course. Though it shall be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Do you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please. Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. It's a lot of greats. I am almost sure that I am not ready. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness? Or Russian on account of his dubiousness? Yo, dog. That's racist. That's not cool, man. What do you got against Russians, I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or to anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes, I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially in first meeting, but I once read, it's a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases your judgment. I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now. Huh? There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Do not? No. Number two, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. Yes, sure. What ineffable twaddle! Oh, yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, and now I've experienced it's the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. If I called him Sherlock Holmes for the entirety of this playthrough, would the Holmes estate come down on me and ban my stream? I'd say there's a non-zero chance. Can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. Looks like somehow both Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How? How could you? How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well, then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Old Man's Identity. Deduction. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pairs of shears in your hand. A milky ho. See, that would work, you're right. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away that copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front-page article, which would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik Flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article passes an extremely copious beard. You noted the article yourself. You decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Sure. Okay, we'll just go straight past that's not right, but you know. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are at this very moment on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. No keyhole. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It's time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. I don't care. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps? One slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, with the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me. We are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coudelet betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open the traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. There's another most stimulating article. We turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Is that of abduction? And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Yeah, sure. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this Russian enigma, Elemensky. Clearly he nailed it on every account. Like, I see no room for error at all. Not even a little. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know? But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here a minute? What can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all. Go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier, and at the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Warlot does look more like this man than you do. Well, yes. And you look more like a turtle than you do an elephant, I suppose, but you're neither. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina... wrong voice. The part about him abducting a ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child in that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? How do you? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from that case. Sure. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. A troop of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain lightness in their bodies. Ah, so like Dug and olive oil. I gotcha. Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. What? Hey, Crib, how's it going? Welcome to Viperland in the chat. Who's pissed? Yeah. Yeah, he sure does. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. This whole thing is turning into a circus. Don't say circus too many times, you may wish it upon us. Mr. Naruhodo, something occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. They're all wrong. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seem a little off. Clown percentage. Because of the olive oil stain. See? Exactly. Totally how he's going to get caught. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Susato. It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. I was wondering, if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some key words in his deductions. Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me. That laugh animation, though, man. I love the head guy from level 5 flat out stating that they wish they could work on more mature and adult, sexy and violent games. I'd buy it. Honestly, I'll buy pretty much anything level 5 puts out. Like, it's one of those things. It's not that funny. Ah, and you, my good fellow. Sorry. Take a moment to look at your wrists. Wrists? Ah, where are your handcuffs? Huh? How? How did... I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes. So, correction. The dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roulette. Obviously, what catches you in the first place. There's shears. Oh. Also on such an implement. Ah, yes, this might be wrong. Huh. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? Doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roulette, either. Which means I suppose that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a keyword here, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roulette. I wonder if it's really his beard he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything else we can even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roulette really going to use those enormous shears for? Hat. Coat buttons. Coat buttons? You're looking at the buttons on this coat. Could it be that Mr. Roulette was planning to cut these off? Oh. Why? Well, when you're wearing thick gloves, it can be very hard to undo buttons. Then, couldn't you just take off your gloves first? Huh. So he was going to use the scissors to cut his gloves off then. I want you to take a deep breath and look at this from a fresh perspective, Naruhodo-san. Oops, I think she's angry. Oh, speaking of, weekend. Hmm. Hmm. You know, just maybe. What a way to remove a code. Yeah, of course. What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No. The color is not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Willard's head? And how is it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
Golden locks. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed, you have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman, and judging from the length and sheen of your hair, one still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of those magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. Never heard a song. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry? You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes. Just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. Yes, understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that is picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. Now, that's true, given that Mr. Roulette is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless, yawning viper. Revolutionary. Suppose it's because the deduction as a whole is taking a different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fits the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like this recently. I do my best.
Yes!
Clearly. Immediately, yeah. He's too powerful. He's just too powerful. The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Wait, it would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballerina's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Uh-oh. Are we playing Guilty Gear all of a sudden? I don't know the mix. I will die. Cabanela has ridiculous style. It is. They basically put an entire game's worth of style into that one character. Excuse me. You're right. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. Conclusion. Wrong. Solved. Now it's for my second conclusion. Well, you were pretty wrong immediately about that. Yes, definitely. Proof of this crime over there. Yep. The case. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The case. This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committing? Huh. I can see I'm going to have to step in and fix the great detective's mistake again. You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it! Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. Never seen anything like it. Those real diamonds, do you think? Oh, Naruhodo-san, try it on. What? Me? Isn't it usually girls who wear tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. Why does this tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently.
Yes!
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it is an item worth 20,000 rubles. In summary, the crime you've committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. We're doing massive amounts of emotional damage. I have no one, no family, no friends. I'm all alone and I need money. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an earl? Russia? It belongs to me. The girl is only 15 years old and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There's no point in hiding it now. Come, let us not be hasty. What are you red alerting? Oh, yeah, that. They absolutely said her age earlier. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. Is it reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed? Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there is no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I've ever laid eyes on them. Dear me. We're not well suited for a life of crime, are we? Your careless couturier betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. He's completely changed tact with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholmes is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still. Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area, if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree, that's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. The rules. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Bureau. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. It was exactly the same notice in our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment would be severe, Naruhodo-san. You'd probably be left to drift in the freezing cold ocean. Or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I?
Yes!
Yes, the reason why you refused to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Yeah, you know, it's gotta be in enough languages. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pests are also strictly forbidden. Yeah, it's definitely a rocket launcher. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refused to open it, thus revealing its contents. Yeah, it's also about England. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova. Inside your traveling case... It's the last item listed as forbidden on the vessel's rules of passage. A pet.
He might actually be dead.
So that happens when you get hit with one of those deductions full force, man. Very few things can prepare you for that. Deduction complete. Elementary. Thank you, game. So clearly you aren't who you said you were. No, I am not Grimsby Roylett. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances and are ordered to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel, which couldn't have been easy. The Bureau is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Yeah, sure. Could you really snuck on board without being noticed? In order to observe your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet, to a woman, your hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well enough alone. So, if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out that scream we heard from outside the cabin? The deductions are already good, but I can see a lot of room for, like, ways to mess with it. That veritable tinkling of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disgust myself so no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man, I see. I put on the fur and hat and fake beard, and just before you came in here I saw it in the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearance completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and... At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time. Are those two even thinking about the same thing? Yeah. There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? A pet! Clearly! You were right. It's my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any other crew... Your secret is safe with us, I assure you, but in return... Ah, yes, RoboCat. You must tell us in as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night. Yes, alright, I will tell you. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something, Mr. Sholmes' great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what. But at least Miss Pavlova has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrists. Why? Your hands are cuffed again. What? But how? True to my word, I restored your shackles.
Yeah?
When and why? Years ago? Oh, geez. All right. There's still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can't it, really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma-san wrote about in his diary really was. Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh. That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking? Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. Thanks. Sorry, but all I could think about is last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet. Yes. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I'll never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. You wish to forget? A challenging proposition when you have that striking tiara as a reminder. The tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. Wow, that's a bad setup. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes, and the crew of this ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. And then they told us we couldn't go into that cabin. Before promptly just leaving. To be fair, probably assuming that the cabin was locked. Which it definitely was not. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but... Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. That being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Bureau stopped by no port last night. That's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard? Now that I think about it, the crewman outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It's just after we asked him about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. That isn't... Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry? What was that? I know that's not what that was, but man, that had the same like vibe to it as a Soul Calibur opening. Like, let's just say, probably not Ivy's, but like, insert any Soul Calibur character here. It's gotta be somebody who's a ballerina in Soul Calibur, right? Like, it had that vibe to it to me. Right? I mean, it's not talking about swords, but like, I feel like anything that like, she is basically Mila, correct? But I feel like anything like that has that, like, especially anything that talks about a stage or a sword, is like, ah, Soul Calibur. Like, you can hear it, right? An angel descends from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to this. It needs another line, though. That's the thing. It needs like one more. No, you could probably cut it there. What I want to do, I've been meaning to do this. I want to add more things to the fight command, but I want to add, remember that meme a ways back of like things that sound like guilty, like Arxis, like battle announcements. I want to find a good handful of those and add those to the fight command. That was a little ways back, but I'm sure I can still find some good ones. I don't even remember any of them. I just remember that was a meme for like a month, and it's like, there's some good ones out there. It is how the Russian newspaper described one of my performances. That is how I came here, too. I descended from the heavens. Because I am an angel. Oh, joy. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist a touch of the dramatic. Seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descends from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. The words one to said about myself. Of course. A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. The friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious, then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. Sure. Ah. So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy, isn't it? Maybe an adorable little rabbit? Ah, you credit Russia as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. Ah. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young Ballerina's friends. What? Man, you guys suck at deducting the type of pet a ballerina would have. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Must it be? Really? Consider the benefits. A rousing wake-up call, daily fresh eggs. And when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. No nugget. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret not to be revealed. Spine-breaking. She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. What do we even have to show her? Oh. We can show her that. Could be that too. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. Then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? I don't understand. Strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there, on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything. Oh. Uh-oh. Excuse me, Mr. Relat. Wow. Yes? What? Damn, that's fast. Really fast. Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. Alright, I'll come now. What? You must leave. Now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Werlat. Get out! Passenger said out, or you want me to throw you out. Looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. It's only slightly important to the case to be able to examine that. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. To be continued. And it looks like we still have some frame drops going, but it hasn't been like too consistent or too bad. You know, just enough to keep me on my toes for the start of the stream. January, yep. In the passageway. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we'd managed to find some clues to what that speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door, clearly glaring at us as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh, yes, he's completely disappeared. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. Oh, we can't converse. Well. Police second class area. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. It's locked. I can't open it. Yep. No one else with the murder escape. Yeah. Computing is probably only slightly different because the sailor's not sitting there. Yep, good handwriting. Last night's log is mostly blank. Yep, same thing as the last we heard. Back to cabin 1. Looks like they're still investigating in here. Yes, on that subject, I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga is unscathed. What do you mean, unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Norohodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he lays life on the line for you. Oh, yes. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. See what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. Jeez. I don't think it went so well for him. Ah, you're back. Inspector! What happened to you? Your face is... Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Made by a bear, maybe. When I told the captain I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fist and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. Looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin. Yes, so I understand. Oh. I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herlock Scholz. I don't think he was German, though. Ah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes then? We can tell you what we found. Yes, let's do it. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door. Oh, do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? He's so gonna die. Oops, I think I upset him here. So upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case at least. Oh, how? Because angels don't go around committing crimes. Perfect. Also like how his left eye got beaten up so bad that the lens doesn't reflect light. Is there no lens in there anymore? Did he get beaten out of it? Yeah, no, it actually did get beaten out of it. I thought it just got bent out of shape. No, beat out his glasses lens. Jeez. This poor guy. Oops, now I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation here proved fruitful? If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. My duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. Oh, I see. Ah, there's one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh, what? Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please. What is this new information you have, Inspector? It's this. The Bureau's medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report. Kazuma-san. Sama. So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report. His neck was broken? Yes, it seems so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury, so at first I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing has been found as of yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object. Something that wouldn't leave a mark. Let's see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. There's a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. Poor Kazuma. I mean, yes. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it is fine. I trust you. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? Suppose. Ah. Postmortem report has been entered into the court record. A report from the SS Bureau's medical officer giving the cause of death as a cervical spine injury. There were no traces of external injury or poison. Time of death sometime between 1 a.m. and a little past 2 a.m. Male, Far Eastern. Victim's neck was almost certainly broken as a result of a strong blow to the area. No obvious external injuries or traces of poison. Alright. Oh, Mr. Scholz was here, was he? Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. Then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now that you mention it, yes, just one thing, but he practically shouted it. It's shoe polish, was all he said. Shoe polish? Wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there, about the pieces of broken glass, do you see? Perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think? Ah, yes, that must be it. But how can Mr. Sholmes know it's shoe polish? That leaves me with cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Susato-san? Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue. Dark tan? A sort of dark brownish red, then. Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him. Oh, does this mean that this mark was made by the polish in Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? Here's a small glass object, what looks like a scuff mark. Alright. That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. Fellow crewman's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you. Poor Inspector. You look exhausted. Oh, no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. He was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friend. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke this morning. Heavy head? That's interesting. It's still throbbing, too. Really is such a beautiful color, this glass. Looks like whatever it was is broken clean in two. But the other half is nowhere to be seen. Then there's the brick-colored mark, which is shoe polish, according to that great detective you seem to know all about. Suppose it must be from Kazuma-sama's shoes. Maybe, but what I'd like to know is, how can the detective be so sure that it's shoe polish and not something else? Science gun, because he's a great detective, of course. It's hardly a reason, is it? So this ventilator joins the Miss Pavlova's cabin. Yes, that's right. And just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. One second. Put in my window fan, so I can't really close my windows, but the temperature dropped really low tonight. And I put away my winter, I packed up my winter pajama stuff, including my pajama pants, so I just have pajama shorts. So a blanket. My feet are cold. I've got cold feetsies, okay? So I was sitting here like, oh, it's cold. Oh, I just gotta manage. I was like, no, I don't. I got a blanket on my bed. I don't gotta manage nothing. I get to be warm. The speckled band, as he described it. If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it, but she seemed to be baffled as we are. Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though. I'm happy, because I already dread the heat, so I'm not complaining, but it was colder than even I expected now. And I've been mostly playing light PC games lately. I've been playing a lot of RuneScape and having a good time with it. But, well, I've been leaving RuneScape up grinding bosses while I've been catching up on It's Always Sunny, is what I should actually say. As opposed to if I were to play something a little more intensive on there or the PS5, it might generate a bit more heat. I don't think RuneScape does much of anything. I started a different boss, one that's making me more money, with only a fraction more effort. Every now and again, he can actually get me to low HP, and I just gotta, like, click a piece of food. So, like... Well, yes, but I've really been using it also as an excuse to catch up on Always Sunny, which is something I've been meaning to do for a while now, and other YouTube videos. Yesterday, there were just a ton of YouTube videos out. Oh, well, we're already on pause anyway, as Potts would say. Either Tuesday or Thursday, we will probably start the stream with a short card opening stream. I went down the wallet destruction rabbit hole again today. It turns out that part of the, like, Weiss Schwartz bubble, their, like, owner is a company called Bushi Road. And Weiss Schwartz is one of the, like, card games they make, and they make a bunch of them, but they made more. And they did one called Chaos TCG in the early aughts, up to, like, 2011 or so. And they put out a bunch of stuff on that would have been really interesting to me, including Danganronpa, the animation cards. But those are very expensive. But they did 4 separate Steins Gate sets. They did Steins Gate in Chaos Child, Steins Gate in Chaos Head, and Steins Gate, the, like, OVA. I couldn't find any of the other ones except the regular Steins Gate one. But it's a smaller thing. It's 6 packs to a box of fewer cards, but, like, more rarer cards. So I couldn't find one of the Chaos ones. I mean, I could probably find a Taku card to buy, but I couldn't find a box of them to open. So it's only going to be 6 packs, but it's Steins Gate, and I don't have to open it on stream, but I want to. So that should come in either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So whenever it comes in, we'll do it on stream. Thought that was nifty. I'm just a sucker for Steins Gate, and the big chase one. Hold on. The big chase card is kinda nuts. This isn't the one. This is the Chaos Head one. But the chase cards from the Chaos Head one are great too. Where's the one I'm looking for? This one's Steins Gate. I mean, all of it's still an excuse to just open more Steins Gate stuff, which is not something I get to do very often. They did, like, Konosuba too, and Recreators. I wish I had known they did Recreators. That's also so far out of print and so specific. I'm never gonna find that. Ever. Yeah, like, they got a good Krisu card. They got a good... They've got some entertaining cards here. Clearly the card I want. Obviously. I haven't started Season 3 yet. Oh, why is that got a weird link? Hold on. Here, we'll just do this. Clearly just the omelet. But yeah, it was worth a shot. We'll see if the cards are any good when they come in. But it should be this set. But man, I wish I had the type of money to find one of the Chaos Head ones, because the big chase card from the Chaos Head side, the Chaos Steins Gate one, is this, and, like, that art with the signature, just they don't even have it in stock. They can't even estimate a price on that. Oh no, the estimated price is like $260, which I'm not paying. But, like, yeah, understandable. Yeah, I wish, just last link I'll post. This is just the big hits from the Chaos Steins Gate one. I wish I could find one of the Chaos Steins Gate packs. I could find a pack. They were charging $25 a pack, and I ain't spending that. I ain't spending $25 a pack. Sorry, not doing that. I refuse. I will not at all spend $25 a pack. Especially not if it needs to be shipped. Like, maybe if my card shop had one, I'd be like, okay, fine. I'll try one Chaos Steins Gate for $25. Like, ugh. Alright. Well, yeah. So I have the Steins Gate one coming. I couldn't find any other ones. It would have been really interesting to get this card. Let's see. How expensive? Yeah. Not the most expensive card, but a cool one. I have to agree. Eris is always top tier. Oh, that's not a card. That's sleeves. That's a set of 60 sleeves you linked. That's not a card. You could sleeve up a Magic deck with that, though, and be a boss. An absolute boss. Those are clearly the best sleeves, though. But yeah, so below the card you linked. Oh, okay, gotcha. Did I miss it? Yeah, I clicked this. That links to sleeves. Yeah, either way, yes, there are lots of good cards there. Well worth looking at. Unfortunately, that's not the set I got, but it's fine. Man, before we unpause, let me just fully commit to it. Like, these are some of the things they made sets of that I didn't even know. Angel Beats, Blend S, Dung and Rope of the Animation, God Eater, you know, the Monster Hunter like. What's the other one? Konosuba, Season 1, Season 2, and just a deck. They did Love Alternative, No Game, No Life. There were Recreators. I still just can't believe there's Recreators cards out there. But, like, the packs of that don't exist. Like, I even looked for just anything, and it does not exist. Like, nobody watched Recreators. It's so nuts. That is a great card, I have to say, yes. Only $4.50. Like, I might look into buying some singles of certain cards at some point, but right now I'm pretty okay. I still like the actual act of opening cards, but you know. Okay. Now I can commit to the unpause. I had to get the blanket, and while I was already paused, I had to talk about Cardboard Crack, you know. I'm not sure. I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but there's something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Yes, you know, we're back. I just continued the tangent because, you know, I had already started it myself. This is where Cosmo spent his final moments, writing his diary. 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Who's that? Looking at his writing here on this page. It's almost impossible to believe that he's gone. There we go. Kazuma-sama left us a valuable clue in these words, I'm sure of it. We have to solve this mystery, Naruhodo-san. We will. Investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything else. Oh, because I just missed that. So it's clear that these letters were written with the ink that was somehow spelt on the floor, and they spelt the Russian word for wardrobe. Does seem to be an unambiguous pointer to you, Naruhodo-san, as you were sleeping in there. But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelt out my name, don't you think? Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Kazuma-sama would have written his last words, or word, in Russian. Which begs the question of who did write it. Well, I mean, if we're narrowing it down to people who know Russian, it narrows it down to the rest of the ship. So, yes, our famous one-boned chickens. These are the rules of passage to travel aboard the SS Bureau. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. So by bringing her pet on board, Miss Pavlova has broken the rules. She called it her friend, didn't she? Yes, although we don't know what form this friend takes as yet. I'm almost certain that whatever it is, it's inside the traveling case in her cabin. A friend. There's more to this than it seems, I think. All the books provided for passengers occupying this cabin, neatly arranged on the shelf. They were all over the place when we first looked around, if you remember. Oh, yes, and you tidied them up, didn't you? You have to look after the ship's property. Unruly behavior in the cabins leads to damage. But it really wasn't me who knocked them over. Well, anyway, I feel much better now that they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy. You. Where did you go? Oh, sorry. I just went to the next door cabin to investigate. Why? Who gave you permission for this? Well, Seaman Hosonaga did. That new Japanese, was it? Later, I will roll him into ball and throw him in cold room. What? Who? He's gone back to guarding the door. Hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account. He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at La Carnival. It could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san. I think we checked everything? I don't know if they'll let us leave. Okay, we can go back out here. Ah! Look, Naruhodo-san! Demon Stroganoff is gone! Strong enough? Dude, you heard his name. You've called him by name. The burly Russian sailor who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us. Ugh, all those Russian names are impossible to remember. Yeah, I can see how Beef Stroganoff is a difficult name to remember. Tra-la-la. Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la, la-la-la, I did the great detective way. Oh no. It's caroling. I know that lark-like voice. Well, never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us. Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's go inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate. Definitely. Before that stringy knot crewman comes back. It's Stroganoff, not stringy knot. Alright, well, tally-ho. That's January. SS Bureau, first class, cabin number 2. Uh-oh. Pavlova isn't back yet. Susato-san? Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. It's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can. Suppose you're right. For Kazuma's sake. Just for Kazuma-sama. What do you mean? Can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there. Really? We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to. Yes, we will. Well, let's get investigating then. It would seem this teapot is empty. But the natural conclusion is that the Russians are very thirsty people. Sor, are you Russian by any chance? Sorry. Because Miss Pavlova only came to this cabin last night. She hasn't had the chance to make any tea yet.
Nani?
I mean, it could be either. Unsure of angry because right or angry because wrong. It's definitely that they're excessively thirsty. I'd lay 1,000 to 1 on it. You're rather obstinate, aren't you? Naruhodo-san. Oh, man. Angry because bull. Hey, there is a Taku card. Alright, like $3. And free shipping. Nifty. You know, I don't know if I want it per se, but I love that it exists. Good find. It's one of those ones, if I were to open a pack, I don't think I'd be mad to get it, but I don't think I'd go out and be like, I want to buy a Taku 1 card. I don't know if I could. Yeah, yeah, they should pay me to take it off their hands. Suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket. Shall we have a little look and see what's been thrown away? Yes, just like every Pokemon game ever. Look in the trash. Odo-san. It's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know. Those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all. Well, oh, well, that's a little disappointing. Just to make him look cool. Yeah, if you don't know anything about him, you might be like, oh, he doesn't look too bad. He's almost cool. What are this little saucers doing on the floor? Yes, it doesn't look like it's been dropped. More like it was put there deliberately. Ah, do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here? What? A leak? Is this ship quite safe? I'm sure that even if there's a little leak in the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship is going to sink. No, you're right. Of course you're right. She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? And just a few books on the desk, nothing else by the looks of it. Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied this cabin for any length of time at all. That's true. Wonder what kind of books she likes to read. Let me see. Yes, I see. It would seem that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian. Thanks. Thanks. I think I probably already knew that. It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo-san. Kindly remember that. Oh, man. Oh, my! Miss Pavlova's case is open. It's completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there. Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret, because they're not allowed to bring animals on board the SS Bureau. Wonder what kind of animal she had in there. More to the point, where is it now? All those books must have toppled over again. Must have toppled over together. Look, every single one. Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though. It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door. In Cosmo's cabin. Title for this card is too strong. Oh, if there's one thing Bushiroad / Weiss Schwarz is good at, it's naming cards. I, however, cannot translate that. Embodiment of delusion. That would do it then, yes. 100%. Yeah, they don't even make Chaos TCG anymore. That was just one of their card lines they apparently made for all of these side EV games, and then went, meh. It seems to be very related to Weiss Schwarz in terms of, like, card layout and just look. It seems to be related. So I'm sure that kind of probably just evolved into the Weiss Schwarz line, if I were to guess. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase. I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company? Right then, it must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage. Not everything bad that happens on a ship is because of me, you know. Yep, fit of rage. Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again here, too. I don't like seeing things in disarray. Yeah, why wouldn't you mess with evidence, potentially? It's fine, whatever. Ah, yes, they're displayed in this cabin, too. Look, the Estes Bureau's rule of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Suppose Miss Pavlova realized that she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she read this. Your special friend, I mean. Wonder where her friend has disappeared to now. Probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine. Just hope Seaman Stroganoff doesn't find it and throw it overboard. Oh, yes, so do I. Yep, they usually do. A lot of their sets. And if they don't have something signed, they'll have it, like, still, like, embossed with, like, a quote or something. But the signed ones are always going to be spiffy. Ah, yes. I would love me a Ferris signed card. I, however, will not spend $200. Oh yeah, no. That is way out of my range. But is also really cool. Also very cool. And I like... They do lots of with the, like, anime art, but that's like the visual novel art, which I was like the smidge better. The anime does a great job. I ain't pooping on the anime. The visual novel, though. Naruhodo-san, are you there? Sorry? I'm right here, yes. Why? Oh, good. Thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know. What led me to finding the Chaos TCG earlier in the first place was because I was looking to see if there was any other places that had done Utawara Rumono or Aqua Plus cards. And they had done a run of Aqua Plus cards, which are now worth quite a bit in terms of the packs. I found like a box and it was like $300, and I'm like, no. And then I saw Steins Gate and I fell down that whole rabbit hole. You know how it goes. The second I see Steins Gate, it's over. Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. Is one of these next to the bed in Cosmo's cabin, too? Yes, it's a bell cord. I can't resist. You should resist, though. She barely hesitated there. She gave it a good tug, too. No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come. We don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret. So this ventilator connects to Cosmo's cabin next door. Yes, although what a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room. Maybe it's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm? Or the occupant of both cabins would die of gas poisoning. That is a possibility. Anyway, last night, Cosmo wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of the ventilator. I think we've checked everything. Oh, haven't actually looked at the door. Cabin door is the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. If the bolt's drawn across, there's no way anybody could enter the cabin from outside. Yes, it's not a particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it? No, and the door is made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside. It seals up perfectly, too, to stop any seawater coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread through a crack around the closed door, either. You seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. Yeah. Alright, feeling like maybe you've checked everything. noteworthy on this side? It's got to be something overall we're missing. It's got to be something we didn't look at. They sold out. Oh, yeah, I'm sure anything good they sold out. Yeah. Of course they're sold out of the foil signed Maho. It's too powerful. It is just too powerful. However, that is the set that I got cards from. So... Oh wait, no, that's this Gate End Child. Never mind, I lied. It's not. Oh, that would be... so good. Oh man, they got this card too? Easily the best art from Steins Gate Zero. And they have just the foil of it. Yeah. Maho signed card though? I think we checked everything here too though. I mean, again, there must be something I'm missing, so I'm just gonna, you know, hover over everything when in doubt. Both rooms and outside. I'm sure there's something I missed. Let me check that. Yeah, Maho may be a great character, but that is the best Steins Gate Zero art, and they knew it. They knew what they were doing. You could argue that, like, his entire character arc for that game built to that art, and you'd be correct. I don't think we missed anything in the hallway. Like, I'm checking anyway, but... Okay, fine. First class cabin, number 1. It's our cabin. Yeah. Probably just the same stuff without interruptions. Yeah, I was in the wardrobe. Wonder if Inspector Sonagas managed to uncover any new clues. We did talk to him, right? Probably find him and ask. We did. Wait. And I'll go back in a second, but I thought we did. I see what maybe we were missing. I see perhaps what we might have missed clicking on. It was very subtle, but I may have located the outlier. Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look! Wow, you never know where he's going to turn up next, do you? He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself. Tra-la-la, lira-lira-lay, I did it the great detective way. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply in extremely high spirits? Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's a lucky Herlock was about. Excuse me. I solved it all and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes! Alright, I lied. My new favorite Sholmes animation. The best one is the fall. The second best one is fisticuffs. Let's see what we got over here. The fall, 11 out of 10. Fisticuffs, just slightly less than that. 10.5 out of 10. PTSD card. Great. Yes, wonderful. I do like the I'm done with this nonsense Maho. Oh, so not only did the Chaos TCG make the Steins Gate and the Chaos crossovers, they also did a set that included My Darling's Embrace from Steins Gate. So, you know, all that non-canon rom-com goodness. What is it? You want to fight? Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing, and I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never going to stop, so I figured now is as good a time as any. I very nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away? Oh, man. He is something else. Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you. Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in study of the ship's log as penned by this stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh yes, the ship's log. And did you find anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means that there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... The laugh is great, though. It's not just the back-breaking part of it. It's the whole thing. That's just the whole thing. Oh, yeah, that's a picture. Jeez, yeah. They had some good art to pick from. The Chad. Ah, yes, old Daru. The only person in Steins Gate to canonically end up in a committed relationship and have a child. From the best we can tell, happy committed relationship with a child. Only Daru. Which is bananas. You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. Excuse me. It would seem the same crewman oft stands sentry in this first-class passageway, and he has an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes? Nothing to report. Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night, it's largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report. Do you mean... Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night which led to the seaman being absent from his post. What kind of circumstances? What happened? Remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. Ship's log has been entered into the mental file. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Sholmes Sholmes. Brilliance. And hysterical laughter at the drop of a hat. Oh. Ouch. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more. Well, my friends, until our next encounter. Goodbye. He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway. Something wrong, Susato-san? You seem lost in thought. Just, well, I feel the same. Sorry. Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing. Oh, you too? Nothing spell of the game. He just skips down the hallway. He was humming something. Also, hey Potts, how's it going? Welcome to Viperland in the chat. He definitely was humming some stuff. We're still on the ship. We still have... Oh, I guess we took the book. This cabin. It's got to be in here. Whatever's left. Could be our chance. Yeah. The sailor doesn't appear to be around at the moment. Investigate. For last incident, okay, I think we did, but... Okay. So we're definitely done out here. I'm gonna go in here first, then we'll go back to our cabin and see if there's anything there. No, I mean I sidetracked the stream. Again. Oh. Ah, what's that? Oh yeah, but you kept it going with the ammo I handed you. Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter-mile forward. Full stop. Hard to starboard. All hands, brace for impact. What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? Uh-oh. I can't stand. Susato-san, hold on to me. Once we have a moment, Pots, I will show you. Okay, cool. That won't go forward. I have to show you what tonight has been like in two, let's say 3 photographs. First one is this one. Second one. Sometimes you just get that muscular urge to kick something, right? And the last one being, honestly, any of these, but I'm going to go with this one. So those are the 3 screenshots that have fully summed up how it's been going tonight. Apparently. I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san. I'm surprised anime night ended that early. Hopefully you guys got in some good episodes then. Looks like we avoided a collision. I think... Yes, the ship has come to a stop. Oh my goodness, what about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Is that you in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly! What? The bolt? Look at that. The door's bolted. Did you do that, Susato-san? No, I didn't touch it. Oh, well, that kind of... The checkbox. Ah, cool. Good times, then, I assume. I didn't touch it. Well, that's strange. How did... And... Look at all the books. Surprise? Yeah, I've heard good things, yeah. Definitely heard good things. I haven't been watching anything of this season. I'm slowly going through Zom 100, and then I'm going to watch Konosuba. But I tend to not watch much anime, and I was like, I'm going to commit to, like, watching an episode or 2 a week. Calico and Afro, if you had to recommend me one show from the past few years, what's the one you'd start with? And they both agreed on Zom 100. I was like, cool. I'll start that one. So I think I'm about halfway through it. I just saw RV of the Dead, where things are getting... flashbacky. So I've been enjoying it. It's a good show, just like they were before again. Naruhodo-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in? Better tidy this place up first. Hold on, I know an emergency thing just happened, but it's fine. Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery, at least in a very vivid way. I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. To be continued. Man, there's a lot before you get to a trial sometimes. I mean, there's a lot to do here. I'm always happy to have save points. I mean, I could save anytime, but you know, logical save points. 9th January, SS Bureau, Miss Pavlova's cabin. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. You, what are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? That man there, Potts? Last name Stroganoff, first name Biv, B-I-V. Russian man, Biv Stroganoff. Yep. You both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine. Thank you. What on earth happened? I heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? You wicked intruder, dressed all in black. You are the devil. Sorry? Me? Been called a lot of things before, but devil is the first. You opened my traveling case. How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. Excuse me. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. It is not enough that he's killed a man. Da! And he is stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? I get what he's saying. Take him away. He is a trespasser as well as everything else. Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You are devil. Doesn't look good, does it? There's a cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. It's the real crisis. Got to find a solution. Immediately. I don't know what I can... That pan was magical. Just, I wonder if there's anything over here. Holy crap. Hello, my good sir. What the? What are you doing up there? Oh. Mr. Scholz. Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. Man, his fisticuffs animation is too good. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I've never heard somebody call a coat hanger conceited-looking. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again. The great detective. Ah, Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak! An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes, the case of the curious murder that took place last night here in this vessel, the steamship Bureau, has been solved by me, naturally. What? Really? Yes, I've eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanation exists. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Sure, this is going to be accurate. Ha! You have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all know who was responsible for killing a student boy this morning when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is the stowaway. He has handcuffs to prove it. Didn't do it. The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. Even though we just discovered how that could easily have happened, and definitely did happen last night, fine, ignore that. That means the culprit must be someone who is inside the cabin. No, it doesn't anymore. Yes, it's what's called a locked room. Really, you're smarter than this in detective stories. Locked room! That is point! The room was locked. Well, can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You're all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called lock room at all. What? Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. Well, yes, but it's also not a locked room for other reasons too. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it keeps open-mouthed even as we speak. The ventilator man. The ventilator? Ah! You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. What happened to who? Him? He tried to appeal to the captain's nice side to allow us to investigate this cabin, and that's how he came back. The striped guy? We don't know. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... not Russian? Okay. Sure. Clearly you share the Russian thirst, though. Are you referring to the words Kasuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is a speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I'm about to expose for all of you to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! Gah! What the... That might explain why he got stripey. This might be the funniest Ace Attorney game already. And they weren't slacking in the previous ones. But come on, look at this. Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the speckled band. Snake. Indubitably. Yeah, that sounds about right. Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Right, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? Looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Oh yeah, it's my true form. See, if I take off the mask, that's what I look like. And I'm always wearing a sailor outfit under what you see. Since, you know, I actually stream from international waters, I can't legally, as a snake, stream from land. It has to be in the lawless international waters. Yes, you're right. I think in this case, you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you? You both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think this is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh, goodness, really? It's a trap. How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that's all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. No, I don't know about that. I mean, it's suspicious and he was probably there, but didn't they say blunt force trauma? Yeah. Cervical spine injury. There were no traces of external injury or poison. Oh, I don't know. No. He's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi. He can't talk because snake. Looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend of yours, in your neck. So, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Hell yeah, let's do it. The game is afoot. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin that pretentious night? And to take deeper breaths for his lines. Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? As I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. Explanation can we then give, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloth skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crimes, most deadly friend of yours. Dead its original skin. No? I don't know what you're talking about. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime. is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. A snake so dreadful, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. Okay. So, considering the way Ace Attorney trials go, I have to only assume that the snake actually has nothing to do with this, and I can only imagine that they're going to try to point out the, like, venom, that the snake is venomous, and at some point during the case, somebody's going to be like, screw it, and just, like, slap themselves on the arm with the snake, and be like, I didn't die. The snake is a witness. You're right. Clearly. Try to keep up. I'm lagging behind. I must be. Moving on. We come to the heart of the matter. I just like the idea of somebody trying to prove the snake's not venomous by just like slapping it onto their own arm. Like one of those slap bracelets, but it's a snake with fangs. Moving on. We come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I've been appraised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. Ah. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably... That's true. He's already been a bit worse for wear. We can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost but not quite imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestige of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. For the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? Now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't. It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend. To train? Indeed, you'd put the serpent through the ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny this snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt, my logic is infallible. Sure. Death by venomous snakes bite. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band. Sure. That's another just great image. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. On the floor, you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You've solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. We have a lot in common? Like what? What do me and Herlock Sholmes have in common? My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course, what's on your mind? It's just, about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. I was hoping that wasn't the connection, but yet here we are. Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well-informed, madam. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Really only mammals that like to drink milk, you say. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds. Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Ah! Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistling. The old shotgun approach. But madam, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sound of a flute? I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears. These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless. Them's fighting words, Sholmes. Well, I didn't drop anything. Let me at him. Take him down. Show him who's boss. Inept? Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. There's one other thing. You have more? Something, hold on. No! Shush. No, don't let him cook. Ooh, the flute players do. Makes sense, yeah. Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins. Then they should try harder! Oh! Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, you don't mean... Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be. I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What? You've done it again. Your handcuffs are gone. Where'd they go? Fear not. I shall see they're restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Let's go. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Alright. Alright, so... Not aching heart. She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression, then? Let's take a moment. Really look very closely at Miss Pavlova. Aching heart, right ear. The right ear is our only other option. Screw it.
Yes.
Nope. Despite being in the neighboring cabin, you failed to notice what was happening to Mr. Asogi next door. And for that, you can't forgive yourself, can you? A feeling I understand all too well. The guilt is bad enough, but Mr. Sholm's accusatory words add salt to the wound and hurt your ears. What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo? Just following the natural progression of the deduction. Sometimes the truth hurts. Well, the truth is, you do not have a turn for observation or deduction. Did that hurt? Yes, a lot. Okay, so we're no longer in tutorial mode. We can fail. That expression on her face is to be believed. She really is feeling genuine pain. What's really the cause of it? Okay. She has such petite ears among that beautiful hair, like little pink shells. Oh, what's that? There's something attached to her ear. Ah, I expected that's what's called an earring. It's a little piece of jewelry. Earring, is it? It really is tiny. Perhaps part of it is missing. Maybe it broke off. So now all that's left is the clasp part that attaches to the ear. If that's the case, she doesn't appear to have noticed that it's broken. Did forget that we could rotate. Okay, so it's not her butt. Oh. Yeah, she's definitely missing an earring. Oh. I mean, it could be anything. Oh, Naruhodo-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound. Looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. Fairly recently, too. Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here.
Yes.
Yes! Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. It's a missile! Indeed, and simply a simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night? When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin that... Yep. Back to normal. Normal expand. Yep. Seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? Follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer. Wow, she's been so subtle about these things. Ah, it's the teapot. Seaman Stroganov. Yes, her best friend, who she was keeping in that tiny, tiny little thing, was Seaman Stroganov. This whole time. Look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yes, that's true, but personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that caught my eye. Maybe we'd better take a closer look at this. Your best friend is you! Okay, yes. Little kitten. Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no, Whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell a speckled man. Okay, so back to this. Specimens markings did not fit the description in any way. Yeah, true. No, don't look at me. There's nothing to do with any of this. Yeah. Well, it's not snakeskin. What is it? Okay. You see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. If she just left it in her pocket, no one would have ever known. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Sholm's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something. Thought deduction was a specialty, or maybe making me believe that was a ploy too? Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake. In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? I was hoping I could point to the actual snake. It's not actually skin. Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. That looks like a handle at one end. I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently. How is it a toy for cats? Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it. Huh, that sounds positively adorable.
Yes!
Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is, the cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled band. It was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. Why? For what reason? Dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. Yeah. A truly troublesome feline, young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Photograph of Miss Pavlova and Darka has been entered into the court record. It's after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand, and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she is so naughty. A beloved kitten. Oh. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. Grim demise of the victim, which probably isn't related to the cat. But, you know, I'm sure it's fine. The cat bit him. The venomous cat. It's well-known facts that Russian blues are venomous cats. Not only that, they're vampire cats. He's gonna come back as a zombie soon. What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body. That's right. But Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Yes!
The Russian Chimera, we're all in trouble. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes, I knew it was one or the other. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seeming strong enough isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. No, could there be? The kitten hops up on his shoulder, goes, meow, snaps the body. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Presumably Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. Think you're ignoring a possibility, I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. Could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Well, we need to fix the seduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? Maybe?
Yes!
You're not wrong, Ark. You're not wrong. Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results, the undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. The color of the polish is a perfect match for the color of Mr. Asoki's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asoki must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant he lost his life. No. Oh no. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asoki lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. Now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. Definitely the traveling case and nothing behind it. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now he is no more? It can't be true. I refuse to accept it. Now it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. But if this part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction is right, Ms. Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder. Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. The tiara's back there again, but would that really be... Don't think there's anything in there. Is the waste paper basket perfect? Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. Miss Pavlova only started occupying the cabin here late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. It looks familiar. Perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you.
Yes!
That's right. You hear the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. Ah. Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that is of familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And, as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. No. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? Yeah. You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know, and that hush Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and this little glass bell, that would be... this picture.
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from darkest color, the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble